Hey guys, I'm sitting here in my garage today and I'm ready to start the process of changing this into a silver glitter guitar. I'm going to be applying this grain filler to hopefully fill up all the gaps, and then after that I'll paint on top of it with the silver glitter paint. Alright, I'm just going to try brushing some of this on here because maybe it isn't too watery. I don't know. Let's see what happens. Oh, that's way too watery. It's not even going to help. Gosh. Alright. This is annoying. Let's try it again. Let's try it again. Let's try on this side this time. I really don't know what I'm doing, guys. But that's part of the fun. You just do it and see what happens. What happens, happens, right? Doesn't happen, doesn't happen. Do I know what I'm doing? No. Pretty wet and sloppy looking in a lot of places here. Some people like that. Alright, so here it is after I've put a bunch of grain filler on the back of the guitar. So first I tried wiping it on like you would paint, like with a paintbrush. But that didn't work very well for whatever reason, probably because of the type of brush that I'm using, and it's probably not the best kind. So what I ended up doing is I went over it again, and instead of going like this with the brush, I just smudged everywhere. Smudged all over the place, and now it's covering the wood a lot more and a lot better than it did before. So now, again, I'm going to let it dry, and we'll see if it worked or not. Alright, so here it is with a ton of grain filler on it. It's still wet because I was just applying it to the front here. I just tried to put as much as I could to fill up all the gaps and all the pores and whatever. Probably didn't do it the proper way. I probably should have done like a light coat and then maybe like another coat tomorrow or whatever. I don't know. This is trial and error. I'm figuring it out. Now I'm in the process of sanding down all the grain filler that I put on the body using my trusty sanding block here, starting with 120 grit. I'm not sure how well you can see it. I haven't done the other side, so you can see it's like really bumpy and lumpy with all the grain filler that I put on. I'm sure I put on like way too much and made it way too thick. I should have done it like in a smaller layer probably, but that's how you learn, right? Here it is after doing 2 layers of the grain filler. So I put on that really thick layer first and then sanded it down as much as I could. But there's still a lot of like gaps and little holes and stuff. So then I did a second layer, not nearly as thick, and then sanded that off with a 320 grit sandpaper. I'm gonna still do some more sanding with a finer sandpaper, but it's actually pretty good at this point. I mean, you can see the grain, right? You can see it all in there, you can see the grain, but when you touch it, it's smooth. So what you're seeing there, like the brown parts, that's the color of the grain filler. And the body was more of a white color because I had painted it white before. So it looks like, you know, it still has all these like little holes and gaps and stuff, but really it doesn't. It's just the color of the grain filler that has filled in those gaps. And really did a good job like on most of the spots. So it's not 100% perfect, but way better than it was. So I am all ready to start painting this bad boy. You can see that I've taped off the neck pocket. One little fix I had to do was the hole here for the strap button. So when I did it the first time, I tried to get it right in the center, of course, but the wood was so soft that the drill bit kind of slipped and it got off center. So it was actually down there where you can see the little dowel that I put in there. and that kind of bugged me. I didn't like the fact that it was off center, but I just left it. Anyway, so I filled it with like one of those barbecue skewers is what I'm trying to say. Put it in there with some wood glue and then sanded it smooth, and that worked really well. And then I put the hole just above that, which I measured very carefully, and I was really careful to start the hole like very slowly so it wouldn't slip or move anywhere. And now I think it's pretty much in the center, so I'm happy with that. All right, so time to start that paint. Okay, so here it is after I've sprayed on a bunch of the gray base coat that I'm putting under the sparkle paint. You can see, maybe, that it's much better now as far as seeing all the grain and the gaps and stuff that were there before I put all that grain filler on it. It didn't fix everything. You can still see some of the grain spots here and there, but it is way better than it was. So it's much more like solid or full looking or whatever. So after I get all that can completely empty and painted on there, then I will start the sparkle paint. All right, guys, I am about to start spraying on the silver glitter paint. I've never used glitter paint before, so I don't know how this is gonna go. This is a first time, trial and error. You know, I read some comments online where a couple of guys said they sprayed it for about 5 seconds and then it just clogged up and it wouldn't work anymore. So, let's find out. Let's see what happens. All right, here we go. Here we go. Well, other than spinning around, it's working. I'm definitely glad I put the gray base coat under there. And yes, I know I should have it on something solid so it's not turning, but the one metal hanger that I have is holding another guitar at the moment. So it is what it is. Yeah, it's not looking that bad. Oops. Too much in one spot. So here it is after the first day of spraying the silver glitter. Putting on like 3 coats today, and it actually doesn't look that bad. The thing I like the most about it is that this glitter paint has done a really great job, an excellent job I would say, of covering up any of the gaps or sort of pores in the wood that you could see earlier. Even before I started painting the glitter paint, you could still see some of the lines in the grain. You could see the grain, basically, even through the gray paint that was there. But this glitter paint, you can't see it. So far so good. I don't know how well you guys can see the glitter, but that is a silver glitter paint job. So why silver glitter? And my response is, why not? So here's the guitar body after I've sprayed the first 3 coats of the clear coat. I did 1 coat, waited 10 minutes, a 2nd coat, waited another 10 minutes, and then a 3rd coat. And then I will continue with the clear coats tomorrow until the can runs out, which might be tomorrow or the next day. And then, depending on how it feels, I'll determine if I need to get another can and spray more onto it. So I'm done spraying on all the glitter paint, and you can see it actually turned out really well. It sprayed on like really evenly. better than just the regular paint. I don't know, just because of all the little pieces of glitter or whatever. And I guess it's because of the glitter paint. It did a really good job. Plus I put the filler on there under this before I painted with the glitter, but you can't really see like all the little gaps and marks and stuff that were, you know, the grain that you could see in the wood because it was such a cheap piece of wood. So now everything looks really nice and even. So now, here's what I used. I used this Rust-Oleum glitter paint, and then I did the whole can, of course, all over the body, and then I did this glitter clear sealer all over the body until the can was empty. And it sealed it pretty good. I mean, before I painted on the sealer, like you could touch it and rub your finger and a lot of the glitter would like come off pretty easily. After the sealer, it's on there pretty good, although some will still come off on your finger if you rub it hard enough. The only thing that I don't like is it's still pretty rough to the touch. You know, it's not really like completely buried in there and smooth. So what I'm gonna try and do, and again, you know, never done this before, this is an experiment. I'm gonna try and sand it a little bit, very lightly, to kind of smooth it out. You know, what I'm afraid of though is like basically rubbing off all the glitter and making it look less glittery. So I'm gonna try on the back in a small spot and just be very careful with it and see how that goes. And if that works to kind of make it more smooth and it doesn't completely ruin the finish, then I will sand it all over and make the whole thing smooth. And then I got 2 more cans of just the regular gloss clear coat. And then I will spray those over the entire body over the next several days. And then hopefully it's sealed up a little better and a little more smooth. So let's see how that goes. Well, sanding it was definitely a really good idea. I used 320 grit, started on the back to see how it would go. And you know, I could actually see where it made the glittery finish like slightly more dull, but it's very light. I mean, I could see it, but I don't think, well, other people aren't going to notice because they're not going to see the before and after. And after I spray on 2 more cans of the gloss clear, it should give it a really nice shiny finish. But the main thing is it's way more smooth to the touch now. You know, before it was like you could really feel the bumpiness of the glitter paint, and now it's of course not perfectly smooth, but much smoother than it was. All right, guys, I'm getting closer and closer to the end here. So here I have like about 1 can of the clear gloss sprayed on. And I'm gonna finish off a 2nd can maybe today or today and tomorrow. It's about 1.5 cans so far. I don't know how well this is showing up in the video, but this has turned out really good. It's really sparkly. And I don't think you can really see the sparkles well enough, but if I held it out in the sun, you can see all kinds of colors. Like blues and silvers, and it's really cool. So I think so far it's really exceeded my expectations. And it looks bumpy, but it's not that bumpy. It's pretty smooth because remember I sanded it out and then I'm spraying on the extra clear coats onto it, which is gonna make it shiny and pretty smooth. I mean, you can feel it, it's slightly rough to the touch, but not nearly as rough as it looks. It's pretty smooth. And then after this, I still have to do the polish and the glaze and rub it in really good. So I think it's gonna be really cool. Almost done. All right, guys, I wanted to give you one last look at it. So here's the headstock. It's painted with the silver glitter paint. And I'm trying to show you in the sunshine here so you can really see. And I don't know how well it's showing up on the video, but man, this thing is just glittering all over the place.
Subscribe, or you will know the power of the dark side.
into the fire, into the fire, into the fire.